All right, welcome back to It's All Bad. I'm Danny, here with
Reno.
I'm Keith.
and we got a special guest today.
I am Dante Ross.
Yeah.
I'm definitely all bad.
Yeah.
It really is all bad
Yeah.
It's
now,
all
huh?
bad,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
It's officially all bad.
Before we jump into my AM story that I promised you, you got a book coming out.
I got a book coming out called Son of the City. It drops May 23rd. Pre-order is up all over the place. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. About to go on a book tour. It's exciting shit. It's cool, man.
The book's fucking great too. It's also like talking to him. So it's great because like the voice, you know how like sometimes you read a book and you're like, that don't sound
I
like
hate
that
that one. It's
motherfucker.
like it's just like, yo, you didn't write that shit.
Yeah.
Do you read it? Is there a book on? Is it like? Are you doing like an Audible? Like
I did already. It's
and
already
it's
done.
you read it. Oh yeah.
and
Because there's nobody that could fucking. Read,
Yo,
you know.
it'll make you hate yourself. You're like, I sound like such an asshole. You're like, dude, my voice is. You're like, I have a pathetic voice. It's like you walk away every time. You're like, this sucks.
Oh, when you do the sessions.
Oh, you're like, my book's terrible. You just walk away. You're like, I hate life. I just want to go and like, fucking, I want to relapse. It's fucking terrible, man. It's fucking bad. And what's crazy is I had this lady who I did it with. She produced it, and I only had to do a couple hours of voiceovers, and then of overdubs, and she was like, hey, do you want to read books like professionally? I got like a bunch of jobs for you. I was like, yeah, let's start doing it.
Really?
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and I was like, I thought I sucked. She was like, no, you were like faster than fucking 95% of people who do this shit.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's dope.
That's incredible. So you got like
Because I know how to read.
you got a side hustle. You got a side hustle.
I
out
do.
there.
Yeah, wow.
She's mad cool. She
That's
was really
so
nice.
fucking cool.
Next thing, voiceovers.
You know, I tried that once when I was a kid. It didn't really work out. I was like, they like had me do it, and I'd always like fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I was also always high. I'd fuck everything up.
It's a very that voiceover game is it's not what you would think.
No.
Like the dudes who made my friend's dad was like one of the biggest ones ever. And then I worked with that dude, in a world. That dude, I did a Geico commercial with him.
LaFontaine or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
He was cool as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, like he bought like a $9 million house in Hancock Park. That's
Wow.
he was
Damn.
paid. And he fell into it. He was an ad guy. And somebody didn't show up to do the voiceover for some Western movie, so he did it. And that's how it
And
happened.
he was just the greatest, hands down the greatest. Yeah.
Him, yeah.
I mean, my man Rod Houston kills it, and he's like the cool, smooth black voice.
Yeah.
He was like a record industry guy who like went as an accident, and he just became the guy. He's like, I hear his voice all the time. He'd be on like Jerry Curl commercials when we were kids.
Yeah.
like yeah, Rod, what's going on? He'd be like, Hennessy, the smooth. I'm like, dude, you're fucking crazy.
That's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope.
when I worked in animation, we had this dude. There was a dude, Eric Bauza, and he was a Canadian. He was like a dude. He was a Canadian dude who was I believe he was a storyboard artist. I don't want, like those guys get like, you say like if you're a background artist and you call him a storyboard, they're like, what do you mean? I'm not a fucking, I believe he was a storyboard guy, and kind of same thing. Like he grew up on animation. He like loved watching stuff, and somebody didn't show up one day, and they were like, hey, you want to sit in on this? And he did it, and he did such a good job that he started getting jobs and jobs and jobs, and like he's done like whenever they reboot something, he like I think he was like one of the Animaniacs when they rebooted it. He's done, you name it, he's done like all like his top fucking shit, like the stuff he grew up loving. He's done the voiceovers
that's
for
cool.
now.
That's
He's
cool.
so
Yeah,
good.
it's really
Fucking
cool.
dope.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I tried to fuck with it. I mean,
You got a crazy voice.
Yeah.
Like you would kill it.
No, I mean that's the dude. I'm living.
They
in
need
LA.
a homeless dude. It's you.
Dude, I'm living in LA. I'd be like ordering coffee in a place. People come by me, yeah, you do voiceovers? And I'm like, nah, if someone could tell me how to do it, I would love to do it. And a couple of times I've had people be like, yeah, hit me up or whatever. And it's like, now it's essentially like trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you need to like literally like wait tables and be available all day to go on calls and try to book gigs. Plus, I got as far as to talk to somebody at CAA about it, and they were like, really, like the big movies, the animated movies, they want star names on the board. It's not really about your voice being crazy. And I don't know what the formula is. I think it's like they want the parents to take the kids to see the movie, and if like Seth Rogen and Emma whatever are like, they're like, oh, this is cool, like the Croods is like.
But you could get like all the
Cage.
Tone Loc jobs.
Right? That's all I need.
Because I hear Tone Loc all the time doing voiceover.
Do you?
Yeah, he does all. He was in Shrek. He was in minor characters and tons of shit.
Yeah.
Ice-T does a lot of it too.
Do you remember it though? Speaking of, but now that we have Dante here, but like Steve Coivisto is the one who was responsible for Tone Loc doing those records.
He is?
Yeah, because Matt had narrowed it down to Tone Loc and Fab Five Freddy, and he was kind of on the fence. And Coy was the one who was like, "Yo, that dude's voice is dope. You should use that guy."
That's
Because
crazy.
Young MC wrote all that shit.
He did, yeah.
Did
and
he
Tone,
really?
and
Yeah,
Tone Loc,
Wild
like
Thing and all that.
Tone
Yep.
Loc for all the like wild things. He's like a straight Crip.
Yeah.
He was straight Crip. And he's a gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like dudes are like he was like scaring dudes all over L.A.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was all cool. Like Wild Thing guys, like a Crip.
Yeah, he's like a top 40, like a club banger dude. I just love that scene in is it Poetic Justice with Tupac Shakur, where like Tone Loc is like with his baby mama and he's like, she called me dad sometimes, and they almost throw down him and Tupac.
I would put my money on Tone Loc in that fight.
Yeah.
A lot bigger.
Yeah.
I think Tupac would probably weigh like $150.
Yeah, for sure.
145,
It's
right?
like, what the fuck you saying? He's like, I'm saying she called me dad sometimes.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, they're like on the part, like one of those like South Central apartment complexes.
Yeah.
They're like on the stairs. That's so funny.
All right, so Ray, real quick, let me tell you. All right, so my AM story. So Banana Split Sundays, you remember that party?
Yeah, I used
that
to
was
go.
at LAX.
Yeah,
that was
she was
that
dope.
that was his club, and
Yeah.
and
Him and
growing
Steve
up,
Aoki, right?
Yeah, it was him and Steve Aoki, and there was like a Dim Mak party that
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
throw. And when I
That was like when everyone was wearing like polka dot sweatshirts
Oh yeah,
and shit.
yeah. All American apparel, deep V's,
The
and
deep
fucking,
V and like a
deep
fucked up
V
like
and a fedora,
nine
you know?
color
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
You look like mismatched fucking t-shirt.
Yeah,
It's
uh-huh.
fucked up.
A V-neck
Did
t-shirt.
you do a
that'd be
DV?
Oh yeah,
I didn't do
absolutely. I did
DV.
DV.
I never did
but I'm a little,
DV.
it was like whatever.
Yeah,
I was
you're a
kinda
little younger.
Yeah, I'm a little younger. Yeah, and I was on a lot of drugs. Let's get into drugs.
I mean, drugs were popular then.
You had to be mad lean to do the deep V.
Yeah,
for
I was
sure.
pretty lean, but
I was
still no
very
DV.
lean. Yeah.
But I did have an orange V-neck. That was really cool. I was like, look at my orange V-neck.
I had a deep V motherfucker that was like, and it was like checkered, like gradient checkered, going up, and it was purple, and it was like this deep. And I wore it on a trip to Japan. Like during that typhoon season when it's mad humid, and the shirt's like sticking to me, and it's just getting longer and longer. And one of my buddies from Creative Rec at the time walks up to me and looks down, looks at me, and goes, "I could see your balls in that V." It's so low.
That's so good. That's so good.
That was the
Shout
last.
out
That was the
Josh
last
Willis.
time you wore that DV, huh?
Nah,
He was washing up my
Still
hand.
got it, yeah.
He washed my hand in the fucking hotel. Gotta wear this tomorrow, bro.
So it's Sunday night, Banana Split Sundays. I was interning.
This is skinny AM.
Skinny. Oh yeah,
Because I
this is
knew
skinny.
there was 2 AMs.
Oh yeah, there was
Big boy.
Big AM, and then there was.
Well, there was actually 3 AMs. There was big crackhead AM.
Oh.
Then there was big AM. Then there was skinny AM.
Yeah, this was Skinny AM. This was like Skinny on top of the world.
Yeah.
Signed his deal. Is like he has the nightclub. Paris is there. Everybody's
Yeah.
there partying. And I was maybe 17 or 18, and I was interning at Dim Mak. I was an intern. I was doing design stuff
that's
for him.
dope.
Yeah, it was fun. And Sunday night they would put a keg on the dance floor and have like whoever show up and DJ.
Yeah.
And Jazzy Jeff was one of like
Yeah.
it was all these dudes that were like the best, the top DJs.
A-Track or
yeah,
whoever.
A-Track. Yeah, exactly. Kanye performed there,
Yeah.
in that little club, And
Did
on
you wear
this-
those crazy sunglasses everyone was wearing?
I had the sunglasses. I had the DP. I had all of it. I had the whole fucking. I'll show
faux
you
hawk,
pictures.
faux
Yeah. Never had a faux hawk,
I had
but
a
but it's a Sunday night, and this night Mickey Avalon is playing, right?
Oh.
So it's especially turned up.
He's
'Cause
like
it's
the poster boy for that time.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh,
the
absolutely.
LA poster boy.
Yeah.
every
This is-
every club, yeah, for sure.
This is like 2006 Mickey. So there's a line like going around the block, and we would go there. We would get there early, and it was like I think there was a keg on the dance floor, and it was open bar for the first hour. And I just like we would get shit faced beforehand, show up, and this night I took a bunch of Xanax, and I remember walking in, and I had like a handful of Valium or Xanax or something.
Xanax,
I took
that
it,
party
yeah.
drug.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm drinking free beer, and I remember meeting a girl and like making out with her, and then next thing I know, I'm gone. And the few things that I remember was Triggs was there. Rest in peace. I had a bunch of other graffiti homies that were there that were like, yo, what's up? And we're all getting turned to Mickey Avalon, of all fucking people. He's playing live. And at some point, like a marker appears in my hand. Cause I'm a graffiti guy, like I'm that Silver Rider, that was like my mark, and I find one, I don't know, maybe I had it on me. And I just start writing on stuff. And it don't matter what it is. It's like I'm catching tags on throw pillows, on the speakers, on everything. Like everything's getting, And I go into the bathroom and I like catch a roll call, and it was like me and all the homies. Triggs was one of them, No Mas, like just a bunch of my, and it was like an odd crew of all these writers from different crews. And I remember the roll call, like I remember catching it because I'm out of the blackout, the brownout, whatever, and I come out, and I remember like the bathroom attendant kind of giving me a weird look, And maybe I didn't tip him or something. Maybe I was probably a little rude, I was like grabbed a few fucking loosies from him, And I walk out, and I maybe get like 20 feet, 30 feet, and I get snatched up by security. Because this dude radioed it in that I was the guy that had been tagging on all the fucking stuff all over the nightclub, Because obviously when they're like, it's everywhere. I mean, on the fucking PA, there's fucking decaf tags, on everywhere. Everywhere. And as the security guards are pulling me out, I got one on each arm, one on each leg. They're pulling me out. Triggs comes up and he goes, "Yo, that's my boy." And he's a scary motherfucker, like he's a scary looking dude. He goes, "Yo, that's my boy. You got to let him go." And they were like, "We can't do that." And he was like, "Yo," and I remember he took out a wad, it was like a fat wad, and he starts counting. He goes, "How much? This my dog. You got to let him go." And he's like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all hundreds. And I'm like, "All right, cool, I'm good," And they go, "Hey, he's going home in an ambulance tonight. There's no dollar amount." And I remember him looking at me like, "I tried," And they pull me out and they take me. There was like in the back of the club, there was like an alley. Yeah, there was an alley. And there was a loading dock that went below it. And they're literally holding me down, like holding me on the ground, And out comes AM. And he was like, "Yo, this the cocksucker." And at this point, there's no more blackout. I'm back, all that shit. The drugs, the alcohol, everything's worn off, And I'm laying there, and I were like, here comes AM walking up over me, and he goes, "This the cocksucker," or whatever that's been fucking tagging up my spot. And they were like, "Yep, that's him." And he was like, "All right, take care of him." And he turns around, and I was like, and I just, I can't even, like, they're literally holding I can't even block my face. And right before anybody puts hands on me, he goes, "Wait. Y'all find the marker?" And they were like, "No." And he's like, "Find the marker." And they check my pockets and find the marker. And he goes, "I got one better." And he starts catching tags on me, right? So, like I had the fedora, because I wasn't lying about it. And he wrote "bitch" on the fedora. He wrote something on my fucking hoodie. He wrote something on one of my shoes. He took one of the shoes off and they threw it on the roof. And he was like, "Cut him loose,"
Yeah.
And I just dipped, and I was like, fucking ass, I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard all tagged up, like fucking with my
bitch on your fedora.
Bitch on my fedora,
The bitch fedora.
The bitch fedora, and they cut me loose at one shoe, and I don't even remember where I stomped off to. And for years, I was like, not years, maybe at that point, it seemed like years, I was like, fuck AM, fuck that motherfucker. If I ever catch him slipping, like I'm vandalizing his nightclub, And it's maybe like a year later, and I see him at Cinespace Tuesdays, and it was their anniversary or whatever, yeah. And it was him, Aoki, and somebody else, and he fucking did a set. And when that dude played, like he was the best.
Yeah,
he's hands down, he was the best.
Really?
The best.
Oh, he's amazing.
I mean, I still
He's
listen.
fucking sick.
His mixes, that Power 106
He was
mix.
so fucking good.
He played Elton John's wedding.
He was
No
amazing.
way.
Yes. Yeah.
He's amazing.
The best.
And he did all the Serato shit on vinyl before Serato was invented.
I get chills thinking
he
about
was
how
amazing.
Yeah.
Because he used to come to New York and do this party with Mark Ronson, and he would just always kill him. He would just slay it every night. He was he did it like once a month for like he did my birthday I think twice. I definitely did it one time, and I was in a huge fight with my girlfriend that night, who was like this go-go dancer. Like she was like completely out of her fucking mind and hot, like super hot. And we were like, I was like on drugs. I think I took like bad Molly, and I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to go fuck this other bitch. And it's just all fucked up. And AM was like, "Yo, how'd I do?" And I was like, "Go fuck yourself, Adam." And he was like, I seen his face. And then the next day, Alchemist called me. He was like, "Yo, man, what'd you say to Adam last night? He's like, just at my house. He's really fucking bummed out." And I was like, "Oh, man," I had to call him and be like, "Yo, Adam, man, I'm really sorry." I was in a bad space right then.
Oh man, yeah. He was good people.
I knew him when he was fat and he was sober and he only wore black. I knew him when he wasn't sober too, but when he was really young, but when he was fat, he'd only wear black, so you couldn't see how much he was sweating when he DJ'd. And he'd give you a hug and he'd be soaked.
Wow.
He'd get you with the we'd always be like, "I just got AM'd." Like, oh man, because he was shorter than me, and his shoulders would always be sweaty, and it would always be under my underarms of my t-shirt. I'm like, "Oh, this fucking guy got me."
That's wild.
Oh man.
Yeah, that it's funny is like all I really knew of him because I lived in Orange County when like he blew up. but we would come up here and go to clubs, and they had a little scene down there too. And sometimes DJs from up here would come down there and play and stuff. And I just really knew him as being like this, you know, like LAX, all the clubs. It was like the celebrity DJ thing. And it was like all you heard about was him. And it was just like kind of like right away it was like ad nauseum. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Faux Hawk.
And then it was like Us Weekly and Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton and DJ AM and like all this stuff. And you're like, whatever. And then I heard him spin a couple times, and you're like, this motherfucker is mad talented. And like the mashup thing and how he did his thing where he would throw Sweet Home Alabama and like, you know what I mean?
All that stuff
and
like ran its course pretty quick for me. But I mean, he was a fucking fantastic DJ.
But having a different point of view, which is really rare, you know what I mean? Like usually people like get hip to hip hop by a certain group of people and they're like purists. This is what I'm into. This is my shit. This is what I play. But dude was like all over the place
Well,
with it.
he also was like, he's the one who made DJing a huge, huge business.
Yeah.
Like he's the one who like, he's the reason everyone gets big, big money.
Yeah.
He like was the Vegas guy. He like kind of invented that hustle.
And that documentary really enlightened me to like his whole shit.
He was a
like,
really nice,
whoa.
like whenever I'd see him DJ, he's like, no matter what, he'd always play like maybe a brand Nubian record, clear the dance floor, didn't give a fuck. He'd be like, and he'd give me that look. Like, he was my guy for a long time.
That's
I mean,
cool.
You'd see him with the biggest douchebags and he'd still be exactly the same. He'd be like, D, what's up, bro? What are you doing? And he liked to drink coffee, and so do I. We drank a lot of coffee together, and he came to my house when I was really hungover one time, and I had a cappuccino machine, and we were on my fire escape. He smoked, and we were drinking cappuccino or espresso, and he was like, how's that hangover doing? I was like, oh, it's fucked. And he was like, you ever think about not drinking? And I was like, get out of here. Like, go fuck yourself. You know, he was that guy. Like, he's always trying to like hit you with the little thing, man. It was fucking funny.
But you said, you kind of said that he was a little bit of your Eskimo,
He was. Him and this guy, Andy Kessler, they were the guys who like planted the seed, and neither of them got to see me be sober and alive.
Oh,
but they
really?
both were pretty forthcoming with the fact that they knew I drank way too much. There was no shame in their game. They let me know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When did booze start getting you in trouble, Dante?
First time I drank it, probably. I was like fucking mooning dudes, and I was like fucking suck it, like fucking let's make the security guard chase us. Fucking man, we were kids drinking like fucking before we drank 40s, we drank quarts.
Yeah.
Quarts of like Miller High Life.
Yeah, I remember
We were
those.
little
Colt
kids.
45 and
Yeah,
shit.
we called that Billy D because he was on the commercials.
Yeah.
Billy D. Williams. So
He'd be like, smooth taste, cold malt liquor satisfaction.
I was so shitty. We drink that shit or bull piss or Schlitz malt liquor bull, like whatever it was, and then we'd like, this is the best. We had BB guns. We were like, let's go shoot car windows. So we go to the parking lot and shoot out car windows. I was like 12 or 13. And then our other thing was we take Brillo. I don't know if you ever did this with steel wool.
Yeah.
So we tie it to a string or like a cord, and you light it on fire and you spin
Oh,
it.
yeah,
And it sparks, and all the sparks fly. You have like a circle of fire. And like we thought this was so cool. And we go in front of this one bingo hall to the guy who would come out and chase our circle of fire. And like one guy always gets caught. And we was like, you're the sucker. We were like drunk little kids. Like,
Dude, you just reminded me. I forgot we used to do this like in the early 80s, but we'd get fucked up and we'd fucking tie a stuffed animal to a fishing pole and put it across the street and then fucking reel it like when cars were coming and they'd fuck.
that's great. That's great.
I think it was an animal and shit.
My friend lived in this big building. We get drunk and just throw everything we could off the fucking roof. Like 10 stories up.
Damn.
Like we're like, what's it? We had a bowling ball. Like anything we fucked, man. We were just. So I would say that liquor it's pretty apparent that yeah, all the crazy shit I ever did was when I was drunk. Like everything. Like ecstasy was bad too.
Yeah.
That was bad too. One time on New Year's Eve, I took a piss in a flower pot in the lobby of this club called The World. And I got picked up by a big bouncer with my fucking schlong out and got kicked out, thrown in the street. And like half of New York saw my fucking little fucking inch high private eye, like in the wind. Like, and I was like, yo, it's cold out, bro. Give me a break. Like, it was fucking terrible. And that was booze and a lot of ecstasy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I like you have that story where you're fucked up when you get in the fight with Puff, right?
Oh yeah, I did that. That
Oh
happened.
shit.
Yeah. I wasn't really fucked up that night. I wasn't like
He's like, I'm
hammered
sober.
drunk. I was a little drunk. I wasn't really drunk. I don't want to say alcohol is that. There was a lot behind that one, including they tried to jump my friends. So,
Oh, right,
yeah,
right,
So
right.
that was really why that happened. But I love Puff, and we got much cooler after that happened. He had
Yeah.
a newfound respect for me.
Yeah, that's great.
That'll happen sometimes.
Because you guys basically, he's like, well, you're like, what? And fucking.
It wasn't much of a fight. It didn't last too long. It wasn't,
Wow.
I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, I fought so many times, and I lost so many times when I was really young that I got good at it by the time I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Like, cause you get your ass kicked. Like, I mean, I grew up in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, and Puerto Rican dudes just jump you, man. They don't even say shit. This one dude's like, "Hey, what's up?" And then fucking 4 dudes are kicking the shit out of you. Yeah. That happened to me like so many times that by the time I was like, in high school, I was pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like skinny dude who could fight, and I was like, I didn't really start too many fights unless I was drunk.
Yeah.
And when I was drunk, I'd pick a fight with like dudes. There was no way I could win.
Yeah.
Like, you're not winning that fight, bro. Like, what are you, crazy? Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm like, what are you gonna do? And I like get my ass kicked.
What neighborhood did you grow up in?
Lower East Side.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was like, it was when it was really Hispanic. That was like going up in Boyle Heights in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like when there wasn't a lot of white dudes around.
It was like West Side Story.
Yeah, that's way more poetic. My shit was more like fucking dope fiend stories.
I know. They're like,
It
that
was fucked
movie's
up.
like fucking a switchblade fight where someone's
Yeah,
gonna
and
die, but motherfuckers.
And all the chicks are super hot. Like it wasn't like that. We didn't have like tailored clothes and shit. It was fucked up. Definitely there was no fucking stylist.
That is comedy.
Man.
That's crazy. So you spent your youth in the Lower East Side,
did.
going to public school there.
Yeah, I grew up on the Lower Side, and then I moved to Brooklyn right before I turned 15 because my neighborhood really gotten so crazy.
Oh, wow.
That all my friends were going they're all getting caught and selling dope, and dudes all started selling heroin. It was like, and I lived here, and the projects were like here. So my mom would always be like, "We don't live in the fucking projects." I'd be like, "Mom, we live 300 feet away from the projects." She was not having it. And it just got so crazy. And I had gotten into skateboarding, luckily. And that kind of probably saved my life, skateboarding and punk rock, which is so weird. Usually you end up like Dwayne Peters, but it saved me because I was gonna, I wanted to be on the corner with my boys who were all selling dope and fucking doing wild ass shit. And I don't know, man. I was smart enough to realize that shit wasn't gonna work out that good. Yeah. My mom was a teacher, and I went to like academically like advanced grade school. Like they thought I was really smart when I was a kid, but I was just a fucking moron. But somehow, like I could read like when I was like 4 or something. So I was lucky enough that I went to school. I got bused to the good neighborhood, the West Village. Okay. And I met all these friends of mine when I was a kid. And I guess when I got to be about 13, 14, I just got in about 13 into skateboarding. And I would leave my neighborhood all the time. I get on my skateboard and I'd jet and dudes would stay on the block. Yeah. And I guess I was looking at Skateboarder magazine and dudes like Dwayne Peters and Steve Olson look cool. And I was like, this shit is cool. Yeah. Punk rock and skateboarding kind of became one thing around 1979 or 80. And by 1980, I was into punk rock. I thought Led Zeppelin was one dude when I first went to junior high school. I was like that dude Led Zeppelin. I was listening to disco. I was like a they called me Sorta-Rican on my block.
Sorta-Rican?
Yeah, it's the Sorta-Rican. So like I went to school and I went to school and like me and my friends we went to the like when we got bused to the smart school, like all my older homeboys, they robbed everybody like the first day of school. They shook everyone down, and everyone was scared of our little crew. But I was like the white guy in the crew, and no one else was white. It was fucking crazy. And I guess I kind of like saw though, like I was like, yo, these guys got kind of a better life. Maybe it's like kind of aspirational a little bit, Yeah. And I was always like rougher around the edges than those guys. Like I came up with the Beastie Boys. I was always more dysfunctional than them dudes. Like I was just a little more fucked off.
They're all for money, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, all except Ad Rock. Ad Rock is what you would say, like middle class, like maybe upper middle class.
Oh, okay.
He didn't come from money, but the other guys did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also probably back then the hippest. when they were
Oh,
kids.
really?
I mean, he just was a little different. Like they were all cool. I can't say hippie. It's just his mom was really cool. We used to all hang out at his house. And
Oh,
shit.
right. Yeah, I read that
And
in the book.
his mom Doris was super nice, and he was just like he was cool, man. He could always like he was like a good basketball player. He's like,
Oh, you talking about Doris the Finkosaurus?
yes,
Is that?
yeah, 100%. She was mad cool. She was like the punk rock mom. She
He
would go
says that shit at the end of one of the
Yeah.
songs.
yeah, on
on
the first
Paul's
album.
Boutique.
She would come with us to punk rock shows.
Wow.
Like
Oh,
she would
that's
go to
so
Bad
cool.
Brain shows when we were little kids.
Damn.
Yeah, like 15, and she was mad cool. Yeah, unfortunately, she never got to see him be famous, but she was really nice. He's really nice.
Oh, did she pass away young?
She passed away like before the License to Ill blew up.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought that, like, that's like my fucking adolescence is that album, License
That's
to
because
Ill.
we're white guys our age.
Right? I mean, seriously, it was like, it's just like you said, it's the same thing on the West Coast. It was like punk rock skateboarding, and then the Beastie Boys album dropped.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It was like, oh, damn. But
I think because we're from New York, we were into punk rock, and like punk rock got too tough. Like we were like at the end of punk rock and the beginning of hardcore, and we liked like the Bad
Cro-Mags
Brains
and shit like
no,
that.
that's after us. So
Right.
we
Yeah.
were into like Black Flag and the Bad Brains.
well, that's what I meant was it became the Cro-Mags and all that shit. which is-
Agnostic Front.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I like that band, and they're my friends, and all those guys from Queens. They were like Jimmy from Murphy's Law. They were a little earlier, like Jimmy Gestapo, but all the guys kind of after him. It was just too tough.
Yeah, right.
It was like I was like that's like not the shit we're into. We're into some other shit. And it's funny because I had this friend John. It's in the book. This guy John Barry. He was in the Beastie Boys. He was like the crazy. He was so crazy. Like some people like just don't give a fuck, and it's real. He was that guy. He really didn't give a fuck. Like he was like, oh, the Beastie Boys, they're gonna get rich. I quit. Like he was that guy. He was just like he was fucked up. He was great. He was super talented. But we're all hanging out at our friends had this band Frontline, and they were really good. They were like the baby Bad Brains, but they were like more intent on rehearsing than playing out. They were like, we're not good enough, but they were like super good.
Yeah.
And they had a gig, and we all went back to the rehearsal studio, and we're all like fucking drunk and wrestling around and fucking around. And John was like, "You ever think hardcore is kind of gay?" And I was like, we're like, what the are you fucking crazy? Like, and he was like, no, man, it's like, there's no chicks. Dudes got their shirts off. Like, it's like, guys are all like, want to get in fights. Like, he was like, I just want to get some pussy, man. And I was like,
This guy sounds like a genius.
I was like,
actually.
exactly. I was like, you're on to something, boss. I'm gonna hang on by your belt loop. Let's go. And that was kind of, we all kind of turned the corner
Yeah,
on shit a little bit, you know?
When that it kind of got a little bit like that out here on the West Coast, I was always like, man, I still want to listen to like Golden Shower of Hits and like,
Right.
Like the early punk rock stuff that I was into. It just seemed more fun.
Yeah.
It just got so serious, you know?
It got like, I guess, in New York, we never had like Nazi skinheads and punk. Like that didn't happen too much
Yeah,
because
it's
New York,
too-
you can't be that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah.
fly.
There's Puerto Ricans and blacks.
I mean,
and-
our favorite band was Black.
yeah.
Right, the Bad Brains,
Straight
and there
up,
was always
right.
a lot of Spanish dudes who were into hardcore
Yeah.
for unknown reasons. But like, so you couldn't really be like that. And I would always I go to California in the summer up north, San Francisco, with my dad, and there was like the punk rock dudes were kind of like that up there. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Nazi?
Yeah,
punks
I
and
remember
shit.
like some dudes were like calling the Bad Brains the N word, and they're pretty good for N's. I was like, the fuck is your problem, bro?
Yeah, it's
like, cause our
crazy.
punk rock was based on the Clash, right? That was in the Bad Brains are looking up to the Clash and the Ramones and shit. That was our shit.
Yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
I was like, it's funny because when like the pandemic happened and all this Trump shit and everything, I came to the realization that I was never really a hardcore kid, that I was a punk rock dude who just was there when hardcore got invented, because I didn't really like the political ideology and the like ultra violent aspect of it, which is weird because I was a super violent kid, but it's it didn't really stick with me.
No, I hear you on that. And there may be even like, you might even be able to draw a little bit of a line between that and some of the crazy Trump shit. It's just like the people that are just like kind of, I'm not saying this across the board for hardcore music. I'm not into it enough to make that kind of statement, but it seems like where I grew up, the people that like all of a sudden gravitated to it, just where I grew up, my experience were people that were looking for that experience,
Yeah,
that fucking clenched teeth, like frothing at the mouth
Peckerwood
experience.
shit.
Yeah, it was the same dudes that ended up going to prison.
Yeah, it's
and
that
shit,
Peckerwood
you
shit.
know?
It's like,
like-
that's, to me, there's nothing punk rock about that shit. That's not punk rock. Like
yeah.
being a Trumper is not punk rock to me.
Yeah.
Like, the American flag and all that, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with that. Like when I see that and the eagle and all that, I'm like, oh man, you know, it's fucking weird.
It's a trip for sure.
And I try not to like talk politics about it. Some of my guys like are into that shit, New York dudes, and I'm like, I love you guys, but I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I take a lot of pride in being able to like be friends with everybody, regardless of whatever the fuck they're into. I think that's our strength, right? As I hate to get all, you know, but as Americans, as we, you know, hey man, you got the freedom to believe and do what you want. But if the shit goes down, we're all gonna get together anyway. So you know what I mean?
You hope. I
When
mean, I don't know
China
if we
invades,
will.
We'll all be together.
I mean, like, you know, like there's like homeboy from the Cro-Mags, like John Joseph. That's like my brother. I love the dude.
Yeah.
But his ideology is not mine.
Yeah.
You know, and I love him still because, you know, like I've been, you know, he's had my back 100 times. So,
Yeah,
you know, I
that's
know if the
cool.
shit comes down, that's my guy. But ideology, you know,
Is he the one
ideologies are
that's like a
different.
super like,
Vegan.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like meditates and does all this stuff?
As
now?
my man said, he was positively mentally aggressive. PMA was positive mental aggression. And I was like, I think Yauk said that. And I was like, yo, you got it. Like, that's it. That's all of it. I think you might be thinking of Toby Morse, though, from H2O, who's like super vegan, but he's like almost like a hippie.
I just saw a doc about somebody being like into kind of the shit we're into with recovery, with the breath work and all that kind of stuff, and the meditation and stuff.
It was probably Moby.
Well, didn't John Joseph put the book out, right?
He
about
did.
veganism.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Meat is for pussies.
Right.
Yeah. Like that says it all, right? Like, it's like, bro, like.
It's crazy, man.
You know, I had hip replacement like 10 years ago, and he was like, he can't, you know, the dude's my boy. He's come and bring me vegan food to my house.
That's
and, like,
amazing.
All this shit.
Oh, you're a vegan too, right?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm a pescatarian. But
Okay.
but he was like, you know where your hips fucked up? I was like, why? He's like, ate all that fucking meat your whole life.
You know, the fucked up thing is like, there's maybe some fucking truth to that. Like,
I was just
honestly,
like-
it's
I
like
was
all
like,
this shit
I
that
don't know,
we
bro.
ingest is.
Crazy.
There's a lot of that theory going around that it's like, you know, yeah. Like
I'm
a lot
gonna
of
say
processed
it's
shit that we get
my
down on.
pushing leg from skating.
You know what? I think that's probably the more.
I think that's what it was. You know, so I don't know, man.
Or all those fucking fights you got into, all those times
That's
you
the
threw
hands.
down. Oh yeah,
That's the hands. Yeah, I didn't use my legs a whole lot, except to run.
So did you end up going into a career in music?
I did.
Yeah. What did you do in music?
So I was an A&R guy for like 30 years. I have an A&R job right now. It's so fucking weird. And I was a record producer, and fuck, man, before that I was a road manager, but I was a, you know, pretty big A&R guy for a long time. I worked at almost every major label, and I signed a bunch of groups who became pretty famous, like seminal kind of acts before I left to become a record producer for about 15 years. And then I went back to doing A&R again, and I hit pay dirt a couple more times. Fucking, I don't know how.
That's wild.
And I was dethroned by someone who sucks, and I recently took another A&R job at this independent label called Plus One. That's actually pretty fun to work at. I like it.
That's cool.
I like it because there's like a bunch of really good kids who work there.
And that job consists of basically going and seeing acts, seeing bands, like
I
getting.
used to, not anymore. You
now
know,
it's
and
like-
hip hop was always different. Hip hop never a live medium. It was always about the demo tape.
Yeah,
right.
right.
It's not like you go and see the band and they rock. It's not how it works. There's never a buzz on the band before they have a demo in hip hop.
Oh, really?
No, almost never. Like I only signed one group ever because I saw them live, and that was Busta Rhymes' first group, Leaders of the New School.
Oh, shit.
And I signed them because they were so good live. One microphone, and mostly because Buster was so amazing. It's not an accident. He's probably the best guy live in hip hop right now because he was always a tremendous performer. And my theory on that is that he's Jamaican, and I've never seen a bad dancehall performance.
Oh, yeah.
Never, because they'll throw a rock at you in Jamaica. Like,
Yeah.
you'll get shot if you suck. So it's like, you know, it's just like goes back to that. So not such a live thing.
Dancehall is the shit, though.
I love dancehall.
Me too.
I love
So
old
me too.
dancehall.
Oh,
I live for it. As I get older, I like it more and more because it's like an escape from listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, in hip hop now, man, A&R is like it's. You know, I started calling it analytics and research because it's all about numbers. It's not about
Yeah.
the music anymore. No one gets signed because the music's great. It's always because there's numbers.
Yeah. It's
except
all
Where I work now-
metrics.
it's all metrics, but I work at the independent side of it is actually about the music. So this label I work at is more about the music than anywhere I've worked at in like forever. And ironically, I invented the research system for them. So I suck. And there's one kid there who's just like, I hate this shit every time. The numbers, he just looks at me like, you're so fucking whack. I mean, the whole world is like that. Everything is like, it's fucking everything is metrics, like everything.
I guess the introduction to this stuff is very much like what I just described, but the once the plane is in the air, the management of the business is very metric based, and I get a little bit bored with it. It's a lot of what I do.
I mean, I had a marketing company for over a decade, and I did a lot of stuff in the streetwear realm for a long time. I worked with like a bunch of brands, 10 Deep, Supra, Diamond. I consulted for all those brands.
You know Josh at 10 Deep?
Yeah, I know him really well.
Yeah,
he's at Pleasures now.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Josh Fisher.
Yeah, he's actually the one.
Shout out Josh Fisher.
Yeah, he's the fish. He's the one who got me over there.
He was a fucking 10 Deep for 20 years.
Yeah, he was there forever. He's a lifer. Yeah, they're kind of like, I think it's kind of maybe ran its course, unfortunately, but all those brands from that time period, right? They're
for sure.
Crooks and Castles.
Yeah.
The Hundreds isn't popping like that anymore. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Diamond's got to be like, it's all changed.
For
it's
sure.
all these new brands and the new kids.
The
and
Crooks
all this other
guys
shit.
bought it back. The crew that originally launched it, and
those guys are great dudes. Dennis, one of the best dudes.
Yeah.
Rob, I love those dudes.
For sure. I think they're gonna relaunch it and do their thing and stuff, which is cool. But yeah, it's different now.
Well, it's like also we have this category like luxury streetwear, and I was,
dude,
I got shot. They interviewed me for this movie, this doc they're doing about the history of streetwear, like fucking the history of the hand job. And it's my friends, and they're good guys, and I'm sure it's going to be good, but I just whatever. I would always be like, streetwear? Like, what fucking street are you from?
I
bro?
know.
The street in the street in fucking Anaheim or whatever the fuck it is. And the other thing was like, streetwear like opened the door for luxury goods to take everything. They were like, "Oh, you guys want to fucking eat off our table? Cool." It was like Big Bang. Please take us.
Yeah.
Like, and the way I watched it happen is so wild to me. Dudes were so eager to break bread, and like those guys are just gonna clean you out, bro.
Yeah.
Like and like the perfect example is you look at those Tiffany Air Force Ones. I mean, that's the fucking Tiffany Dunk.
Yeah.
It's just fucking 15 years later. And they just were like, oh, look what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And, like.
But the gravity, the evolution of that, like you're talking about, the Tiffany Dunk was just a color up using the Tiffany's aqua blue, whatever it is, the signature. That's a very specific Pantone color. And then 15 years later, the gravity of that whole space is such that it warrants Tiffany and Company coming to the table to hammer out a deal on a fucking collab sneaker.
And he did it because it's diamond, right? The Tiffany diamond. So that's why he did it. That was the reason he did it in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's just like we see this over and over again, and it's interesting. A couple of brands like we know Stussy and Supreme have figured it out, but a lot of these dudes they're just not. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it's another world, and part of it is like the flex used to be like I have this Supreme shirt that no one has.
Yeah.
Right. Or I have this fucking vintage Pendleton no one has.
Yeah.
Right. Now the flex is I have a Balenciaga that any jerk off of $1,200 can
Yeah.
get. Right? And it's like the flex became how much you spent.
No,
not
you know what's
like how cool
crazy?
it is.
I was at South Coast Plaza. We met my in-laws, which is this big.
Where's
like,
South Coast Plaza?
It's near Newport Beach. It's this monster.
Oh, I've been there
mall,
before. I know exactly
huge.
where it is.
I mean,
know
it's
where it is.
beautiful. Don't
It's
get me
really
wrong.
nice, and it looks at the waters right behind it.
No, that's Fashion Island.
Fashion Island.
Yes.
Fashion Island. That's a
They're
fucked up
really-
concept.
They're really close to each other. But we were eating at this like dumpling spot, and there's this table next to us, and I looked over, and this young mom dripping the Louis Vuitton 3-strap Velcro tennis shoes that are probably $2,200. The Burberry hoodie, like it's crazy the money, and literally if at a glance she could have been wearing fucking K-Swiss and a Fila hoodie that cost $69,
Right.
but it's literally top to bottom. It's the whole outfit was fucking $12,000. It's just crazy.
I'm not fucking with that. I'm way too punk rock for
It's
that bullshit.
crazy.
I'm not into that.
But there's a huge demographic of people that are spending money on luxury goods. It's
True. I mean, look, W-Taps kind of started it, right? They were like the first high price point, but like really good shit.
Yeah.
And like I wear that brand, and like those couple of Japanese brands, but it was
Capital, guys like that.
It was neighborhood W-Tap. They
Yeah.
kind of started that, but it just went to a place that's so Man, I'm not fucking with any. I never wore LVMH, nothing. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
It's just not my swag. I'm not into that shit. Like, give me an old Pendleton anytime. Or like a Fred Perry or some shit. Like,
I have an appreciation for the way that the stuff is constructed when it's like legit something. You're like, oh damn, that's like a great piece, you know.
I mean, I was a polo head, man, so I'm like a low head.
Low
I
life.
fuck with all the low shit. Like,
Low
I'm not into
life.
that.
Do you guys see that guy that's like he's exposing all the brand where like he's got I'll show you after where he's like this is where they're all getting their blanks and
Yeah.
and
No
he breaks
Ideas
it down.
Original.
Yeah,
I know that guy. He's
Yeah.
fucking dope. He's doing
He's
a book.
dope,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's really good.
What's
that
he
guy.
do?
It's just he has an Instagram called No Ideas Original, and a lot of it's sneaker based. But it'd be like 1991. Here's a picture of MC Light wearing a Jordan 4s, and look at her kit. And now he's like, here's where it is now. Like he's like really smart.
Oh, you're 100%. I can see that in my head right now. MC like with the feathered hair. She's got like a windbreaker on.
She's got a red matching like pantsuit on and some red floppy socks and the cement Jordans. He had it up today. He's always got cool shit up. That guy's really
it's cool. And he'll break down. He'll be like,
He like-
he's like, you
yeah,
see this? He's
exactly.
like, this is where they get the blank. And like, we'll break it down from,
Where to
from
get the
Supreme-
outfit?
It's called
Yeah.
No Ideas
Yeah.
Original.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
and
where
his-
they get,
his
where
shit
they're
is-
getting their stuff.
And he's like
brand.
really New York kind of Afrocentric
Yeah.
based. So it's like this shit all comes from us.
Yeah.
Like it all comes from hood
Yeah.
shit. It's pretty cool.
I saw this kid, all right, and this is where I was like, fuck, this whole thing is so fucked. And I mean, it was fucked before then, but Virgil and Murakami had a show. I forget what the gallery was. It was like in Beverly Hills, whatever.
went
the
to
big,
it. I went
oh
to
yeah,
it. Yeah.
And we went there opening night.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was
we
cool.
went.
It
It
was
was
dope.
cool. It was a fun show. You know, it was like and there was this girl that was there with her mom, and I remember, and she was like head to toe Louis Supreme. You know, like shit. Like they didn't make the shit in her size. You know, so they're going and they're fucking, and she's walking around. And she's like, Mom, yelling at her mom, you know, and her mom's walking around. She goes, Mom, I want this. Get me that. And she was like, honey, she was like, no, Mom, I fucking want that. She's like, here, get a pic. Hey, get a flick of me, Mom. And she's like fucking posing, flipping off her mom, like
Oh
fucking
my
throwing up, you know.
God.
And I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, this is bad. We're fucked, you know,
It's
like we're
fucking
totally
over.
fucked. Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it all started with the Dogtown t-shirt. You know, that's where it all started to me. Like it was all just that fucking Dogtown shirt, and I want to cut the sleeves off, and fucking that was my thing.
Yeah.
And to me, that was where streetwear came from. To me, it was a mixture of that and like hip hop shit. BVDs. We used to wear the BVD tank tops and Lees with the crease, and it was like kind of mixing and matching that shit. To me, that's where it came from.
That's
it was
cool.
like the cross section of skate stuff and hip hop shit.
yeah.
And it became this thing. I mean, look, I was in the first Stussy ad ever, like the first one of all time, and like I saw it kind of become a thing, and I never it was never my full-time occupation, but from the outside looking at it, it just looks so fucking goofy to me these days. It looks fucking goofy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I want to wear my Pro line, man. I got my Pro Club tee. Like, I'm cool.
Shaka wear.
Yeah. Yo, Shockwear is dope.
Shocker,
That's
yeah.
like the LA
uh-huh.
shit.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy though is there's been some collabs. Who did a Pro Club collab? Did Born and Raised do one?
I think they did.
Somebody
Someone
did a
Yeah,
Pro
yeah.
Club collab.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about like some of these like bigger, you know, like someone should get down on some of this shit.
Pro
that's
Club is good
meaningful
because
to
they got the
hood.
tight neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Never-
fucking thick.
They're thick. They don't lose the neck.
No.
And
Yeah,
you,
oh, yeah.
you know, like you know that like it's sized up too.
Yeah.
It's like you always
And they come in like 6X.
Yeah.
That's the Titan hack for the big homie with the you know what I mean the chain over
That's the Reno.
top.
That's the Reno size right there.
Y'all be fucking clowning. Wait till I get on that Ozempic. Nah, but you know what? I know we could go all day about sneaker culture and streetwear and stuff.
yeah.
I'm passionate about it too. I mean, I have a major appreciation for it. And sometimes, like, I get stuck in a mode where I'm like, I don't fucking get it. Like the return of the 90s thing. I'm like, okay, sometimes I get some parts of it and stuff, but then I just got to think, like, I'm fucking getting old, is what it is. That's really what it is. I'm going to be 50 this year.
I'm 50. I'm 57. I'll be 58 this year.
You know what I mean? It's like, let them fucking have their fun. and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah. And
you know?
I actually like the 90s shit coming back because it's more comfortable. Like
Yeah.
the fits. Like a couple
Yeah.
years ago, shit was mad slim, and I was like, it's just not that comfortable.
Right.
You know, like it's a little.
You're like, motherfucker, your balls are tight. The fucking
Yo.
pants are off the
I mean, the
ass.
deep V era shit was dumb tight. Dudes are wearing like fucking, stretch jean and
Oh, yeah.
it was like a little
Oh, yeah.
craze.
No, but the women shit that's in right now is I'm not with it.
Oh, the
whole, like,
super baggy
no-
thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of goofy.
They like they're gonna get shot out of a cannon and shit.
Yeah.
Nothing in the hair. The hair's just straight down.
And it's like a halter top and then some mad baggy, loose pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rave shit, like rave,
rave
shit.
shit.
Yeah, it is rave
It is
shit.
rave shit. When raves were like incredible. Raves, I would go to raves and like I'd always like.
That's your shit.
I'd always end up making out with a chick with like antennas on, or like she'd have like fucking wings, and I'd be leaving the club and like just like, dude, you got glitter all over your face. I would like fucking happen. Bro. It's cool. Like so crazy. I'd be like the one thugged out dude at the rave.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we would go to like we started going to the raves that were like the desert raves, Moon Tribe and
Yeah,
shit
that
like
was
that.
the- that was
that
fun.
where-
I went to
yeah,
that once.
Uh-huh.
That was
yeah.
tight.
And then we went from there and it was like, and we would go there because we just like, it was funny because me and a homie and he listens, I'm like, he's the actually Sunk. He's the one that Curl Graphics. He's the one that made us our stickers,
Yeah.
And he's listens to and we always go back and forth where he'd be like, y'all motherfuckers don't go for the music. We're like, we're going for the music. He's like, no, you're going for the drugs, and we're like, no, we're
Drugs
not. We're
and
going for
girls.
we're going for the drug. And he was like, you're going for the fucking drugs and the girls. You guys do not give a fuck about this music. And I was like, we love the music, and we go there like we're not even for like we didn't even know who was playing, what was playing. There could have been no sound at all.
You know, there was always like a funk room. I was always in the funk room.
the funk room.
Mike Messick was always playing the funk room or something like that. Like, I was there with some chick with her fucking wings on and like a Astro Boy backpack or some shit.
Wait, Dante and I had a friend in common, Sean Karasoff.
Oh, he's the best.
Dude, who's like,
that dude.
I mean, you talking about a fucking party machine?
That dude was
Hey,
nuts.
ask Dante in my line. Hey, for every drink he had at night, he ran a
1
mile
mile.
for every
No
drink
way.
the next
What?
day.
He's like, I'm going to do 16 miles today.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was this English guy. He was like short and he looked like Robert Conrad.
He looked like Flea too.
He looked a lot like
Dude,
Flea.
wait, me, him, Kevin Kerslake in like
Oh,
99.
Kevin, that was like his man.
Yeah, me, him, Kevin Kerslake, we're walking up to this party in like Malibu or no, in like Benedict Canyon or something. But we're walking up, and it's me, the captain, Kevin, and his wife, and there's a girl on the balcony, and she looks down, and she goes, "Who invited that fucking asshole?" And we're like, "What the fuck?" And she's looking at the captain, right? And I'm like, he goes, "I don't even fucking know her." I'm like, that's how much he looked like Flea.
looked
It
like
was
Flea.
Flea's ex-old lady.
He even
And
had
she-
the gap in his teeth.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But dude, he was the fucking
Dude,
truth,
he was
man.
He taught me like he was my guy. Like he got me my first job in the music business. He was one of my best friends. He was my drinking partner when we were young. He was a fucking wild ass dude. He checked out way too early.
Yeah.
But
Didn't he? Am I crazy? He threw a wad of money at some stripper and then married her.
he did.
What?
For real.
He did.
Dude, he was the truth, man. You don't
He was
like,
a wild dude. He did not give a shit. He was the first dude I knew was like, I'm gonna leave the music industry for porn.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
it's a weird choice.
I
Okay.
met him from Kevin, right? And then I was
That
going
was like his boy because Kevin did, I think, some Tribe Called Quest videos for him.
oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But we were like, I was going to Thailand. This had to be like 2000,
Oh yeah, he went to
2001.
Thailand a lot.
He went all the time. And he's like, and Kevin's like, did you get the pills you take
Yeah,
for
yeah.
fucking like
Malaria.
and all that? And I'm like, no, I didn't know shit about it. I was like newly sober. He goes, call the captain. So I go over there. And dude, he's sitting in this little chair watching the Yankees game. And there's a bullet hole in the wall. And I was like,
He loved guns.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck happened? He goes, I was fucking cleaning my pistol. Like, took the toe of his shoe off and went in the wall.
What?
Like, he was watching the Yankee game and the gun just went off and shot in the wall.
shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. His ashes are in the outfield at Yankee Stadium.
No
so
shit.
so after he died, maybe 5 years, a little longer, our friend who was a famous guy in the music industry, he hooked it up and we sprinkled his ashes in the outfield of the warning track at Yankee Stadium and the infield. And I went to a lot of opening games and a lot of baseball games. We're both big Yankee fans. He's a crazy guy.
Wow.
He came here, right, with the specials, right?
First time, I think the Clash.
Oh, the
but he
Clash.
toured with the Specials and the
Fuck.
Clash, and
Yeah.
he was down with all those guys. Madness were his guys too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's from London and they're from London.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really tight. I went to a Yankee game with the guys of Madness. We sat in the bleachers and they got all sunburnt.
No.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing. It was really cool. And they were super nice guys. Sean, like, yeah, he knew. I mean, he's the reason me and like the Beasties, we knew Mick Jones when we were kids and all these fucking like legendary cats. He was a super, super big personality.
Yeah, he was the best.
He Yeah, he was fucking the best. It's really a tragedy that he checked out so early.
Yeah.
because he was fucking funny.
Dude, he was funny.
Was he one of us or?
No, he was one of us. He
well-
never got where we were, but
Yeah.
he had a seat. He might have had a whole fucking banquet. Like
he wasn't. Like
if he would have known I got sober, it would have never ended.
Yeah.
He would have just ridiculed me to death. He when he passed, someone said, "Did you hear about?" They called me the next day. Said, "Did you hear about the captain?" And I knew by the tone of his voice something fucked up had happened. And I said, "Car accident or suicide?" They said the second. I said, "Man, you knew it was going to be something."
Oh, that's tough. Man.
Yeah, man. Some people they don't make it, man.
yeah.
So I heard somebody once say, he goes, some people don't have to not make it for us to be able to make, like for us to get
Some
our
people
seats,
got to
we
die
gotta
for
die,
us
yeah.
to fucking live. It's
Yeah.
facts.
But I mean, you're talking about like Dante. This is not like I don't believe anybody who knew him like would have saw that coming.
No one saw
He
that.
seemed to be having the fucking like living life to the fullest.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
Like-
too full.
Yeah.
Also, we never see what really goes on.
Yeah.
We never know. Like it could always be some shit. Like you don't know what that next man's going through. Like I'll see, like even when like super famous people check out, I'm like, man, we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
That like Anthony Bourdain.
Right.
That shit was like
Right.
hit me. I was always like, trading places with Anthony Bourdain, like that job. You know what I mean? He's fucking lived, man. It seemed like it was just like, holy shit.
What about all the musicians, like the guy from Linkin Park and Soundgarden, all in a row?
And those guys were like, they couldn't get sober. Those guys.
Is that what it was?
Chester was like on again, off again. Yeah,
Oh.
he was really cool. That guy. He was really nice.
You know what? When I worked at Creative Rec, I bumped into him actually at a meeting and was like, yo, man, I'm not trying to sweat you, but here's my card. Like, go home and check out the website and hit me up if you want anything. And right away, he's like, yeah, for sure. And then he was doing vocals for that Camp Freddy one night at the Roxy. And we were in the 9000 building directly across the street up top. And I saw out the window, I was like, fuck, the Camp Freddy's playing tonight. Oh, shit, that's Chester on the street. I went and grabbed him, brought him upstairs. He was so cool, so
such
nice.
a nice dude, man.
So chill. Then I was on the road and watched him that night play. They had a blast and everything. And then I was on the road in Arizona at doing something with Nordstrom at Scottsdale. And I saw him at the mall with his kids. And when you're in that mode where you're like, feel like you need to explain to people what's up with you, you know what I mean? Like I saw him and, we barely kind of knew each other, but we knew each other from the rooms and then we knew each other industry, like whatever. And then he's like, yeah, man, I'm out here now, I'm just trying to like put some distance between. And I was like, oh, shit's probably not good. Cool, man, right on. It's rad out here. I'm sure I'm out here brought my kids or moved out here or whatever the story was. And it was many years later that happened, but it was like, fuck.
He had 4 kids, I think.
Yeah.
People used to always think me and him looked alike because we both wear glasses and we both like kind of similar, like a frame. And I remember I was at B-Real's house and he was there and I was like, it's when I first met him and he was like, dudes were like, yo, you guys look alike. And he was like, man, you're the guy I always hear about. And I was like, oh, man. Like, he was mad cool. And we were kind of friendly. It was fucked up. I thought he was a really nice guy. And
He seemed like it to me, too.
he seemed super fucking cool, man. And fucking Chris Cornell checking out sucked because I love Soundgarden.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
they're
me
fucking-
too. I was always a fan.
Yeah, the first Soundgarden record is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's fucking, that's my workout music.
Yeah.
That's like, it just makes me want to fucking tear shit up.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great
Kim
singer.
Dale on guitar.
That's the whole thing. They were just a great band. It's fucked up how he checked out and the whole thing, man.
They're the best band out of that Seattle shit.
Oh
I think.
yeah, because I never think Nirvana's that one of those bands. They're like a punk band.
Yeah.
They don't sound like those other bands. And Pearl Jam, man, I'm not into that. I'm not. Me and Steve Olson went to see Pearl Jam. It was quite an evening. It ended up with us and John McEnroe smoking mad weed.
No.
It was such a wild, weird night. And I can't even do it justice. We don't have enough time. But we went and we didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. And Steve had skated with Jeff that day. And I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to see Pearl Jam. And he's like, no, let's go. And so we go to the Garden. It's like
Skated with Jeff from Pearl Jam.
yeah, and it's like 9 million degrees. And we get to the Garden and we're super sweaty and we have our skateboards. And I'm like, why are we here? It's like one of those nights in New York. It's like 95 at night. It's just disgusting. And we go and they don't have our tickets. And we finessed our way in the Garden, got backstage. I don't know. It was so crazy how we did it. The dude from Band of Horses helped us out, Creighton.
That's a good band.
Yeah,
I dig
and that Creighton's he's the best dude ever. And he had skated with those guys that day, and it was just fucking comedy. And yeah, but I didn't get 16,000 people knew all the Pearl Jam songs, and I didn't know anything. I just knew Jeremy. I was like, I don't know. I was like, are we in New York? Is this really Manhattan? It was fucking weird, bro. Like, no hate, just not my thing.
Yeah. I went to, I was like, like I get sober, and for me it was like when I get loaded, I get fucking loaded. Like my shit, it's dark. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm missing, like I get sober and I don't know how to dress. I don't know what to listen to. Like I was kind of like stunted in from before, so it's like underground hip hop, drum and bass, dance hall, and I don't know what people like, and all my friends were like, oh, we're gonna go to emo night, and like I'm a good friend with the guy, and I was like, all right, cool, there's gonna be chicks there, it's gonna be awesome, and I remember walking in, everybody's singing along to these songs, and they're all hyped in there, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like I've never heard any of this ever before.
Was it?
No, I don't. Like it was like DJs, and then like some band played, but I'd never I don't know any of it.
I don't know
like
any of that shit.
None of it. Like it was like, and every single person there knows every fucking word. They're losing their shit, and I was just
can't
like,
fuck with any of that stuff.
I couldn't do it. I left. I like stayed for like 40 minutes, and I was like, all right, I'm out of
Wait,
here.
was this Pearl Jam also?
No.
It's
The emo night. It's like that big emo party.
Right. So it was like Dashboard Confessional.
Oh
and
man,
shit.
that band is terrible.
Which I don't know any of it. Like
Those
Take
guys
It Back,
fucked up
whatever,
tattoos.
so, I don't know.
They just ruined tattoos for people. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I never got it. I don't understand it. And I guess it came from early Fugazi, who were great, and like those bands, like Right to Spring and all those bands. I like those bands, Quicksand, but I don't like all the shit that it became. I didn't even get it. I don't understand it.
Dante, have you ever seen a ghost?
I've never seen a ghost.
Have you ever smoked PCP?
I smoked PCP, man. Lots of times. I smoked enough PCP. That's the wildest drug of all drugs. That's like the Russian roulette drug. It's like how fentanyl will kill you if you do the wrong shit now. Well, PCP is kind of like that because you never knew what high you were going to get.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be mad fun. Sometimes everything might turn to a photo negative for 2 hours.
Oh, shit.
You're stuck in a frame of a comic book or some shit, or you're fucking sweating bullets and you just want it to end. And then another time you're like, you have no sense of depth. The curb looks like it's this high.
You're walking around. It's like you're walking in the snow.
Yes.
Fucking, moon boots.
Oh,
and shit.
yeah, you're like stuck.
Yeah.
It's a weird drug, man. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But hey, it was it was going.
Do you have a
around.
good PCP story?
I do. The photo negative. I smoked PCP with Doze Green, the graffiti writer Doze, the painter, and everything turned to a photo negative. So it looked like a photo negative, and I was on the couch, and I was sweating bullets, and I was like, yo, make it stop. And then I came out of it, and I was like, how long was I stuck for? And they were like, how long do you think? I was like, 2-3 hours, or like 20 minutes. But I was like, maybe I shouldn't smoke that shit. And I smoked it again.
Yeah, of course.
And another time we smoked it, and we were on the train. We went to Harlem to get dust. And it was like we smoked dust. We couldn't wait. Like, we got to smoke it for the train ride back. Fuck 4 white guys in Harlem smoking dust. And our boy sitting there, and he just throws up on himself. And we moved away from him, and he's sitting there and puke, and we left him on the train.
Damn.
We were like trying to get him off. He was like, and we were like, I said later. This stuff's terrible. That's a bad drug.
The door's closing.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Yeah, he was in his puke like a zombie. Yeah, that shit's a weird one, man.
You know what? It's like we LA guys, like like New York guys. Everybody's been dusted. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's not like you ask anybody from New York if they're like who the fuck hasn't? Like I mean I know like white girls that are in their mid-20s that are like, of course I smoke dust. Like if they
shit
got
was going
loaded,
around.
yeah, it's going around. It didn't make it here. It didn't like
It was
didn't
like
really
a
hit
hood
the
drug
same.
here, though, right?
It was a hood drug.
Guys are
Yeah.
fucking with the Sherm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latino.
The heavy metal dudes in New York like that shit.
Yeah.
Dudes were like listening to Slayer and Stab Cats on Dust.
Yeah.
It's like some shit. That's like some like Westchester County shit. Yeah, fucking Dust is weird, man. That shit was all the graffiti dudes in New York did in the 80s. They called it bop. Because you bop when you walk.
Yeah,
That's a fucking wild drug. People don't do it no more, do they?
Oh, they do.
They do?
Yeah. I mean, I think. I don't know. I mean, I would hope they do, I hope they do.
There's probably fentanyl in dust now, right?
I mean, I think there's fentanyl in everything,
On my last run, people in the valley were starting to smoke dust.
Really?
I think it's just because everybody was so just like just thrashed with like it was like heroin and meth, steady diet of both.
Yeah.
And then it was like G when it was time to party. And then it was like, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, but I know some people from Canoga that have dust. Or, you know. They started calling it green.
Green.
And
Why?
then
Because you smoke it on mint leaves?
I don't know. No, I think they just dip it and dip cigarettes in it. I never fucked with it.
In New York,
because
they called
I
it
came-
leak. Leaky leak.
We would,
never
we would like my homie that's gonna come on soon. He would call me and he'd be like, "Hey," he's like, "You got any Nat Shermans?" And I was like, I can get some." He goes, "Meet me on Sherman Way," you know. And we would like keep it going, you know. Like we would just keep it fucking just you know, like and it's on.
Peabody
you know?
and Mr. Sherman.
Yeah, yeah.
The wet. We had it one time. We got ice cream from Mr. Softy. And my man mushed his boy with the ice cream. He just was like, "Yo, you watch this," and he put the ice cream. We were laughing. Ice cream's walking. I was like, "What the hell are we thinking?" That's a bad one.
I was in county jail one time in Riverside, and I was in this tank in the old jail, which was the most fucked up. It's kind of like going to LA County and not going to like the towers or like Wayside, but going to like CJ, you know what I mean? It was this part of Riverside County Jail that actually used to be a part of a ship hull that they fucking cut apart. It was metal. It was like in the ground, 3 stories. And it was in this day room with like all these crazy fucking dudes and like these black gangsters from East Side, Riverside and shit. And this one dude was in there they were all looking at a lot of time. I don't know how I ended up in this tank, but
Luck.
you know what I mean? And it was just crazy. And like this one dude was like a dust head. And he was talking about, oh yeah, I love that shit, man. Like sometimes I smoke it and fucking I go crazy. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, what's my life? You know what I mean? And we're watching a Burger King commercial. And it was when they had done that. It was kind of when like what's that album out of the South that did that bling bling every time I come around your city.
Hot
Bling
Boys.
bling.
Hot Boys, yeah,
So remember, I don't know if you remember this, but Burger King like did that track over like a chicken sandwich commercial. They were starting to get paid, I guess, or whatever. The Baby and them or whatever, and. We're watching this commercial, and this dude who was all smoked out, he's like, man, when we get out of here, I'm going to fucking smoke it, you know, whatever, a sherm or whatever he called it, buy one of them chicken sandwiches and just fucking throw that shit on the ground. And his buddy's like, you mean you're going to throw the wrapper on the ground? Nah, I'm just going to throw that shit on the ground.
You know, that's an obtainable aspiration.
Yeah.
He could do that.
It's so
That could work.
funny. Like, he's just so, like, perma-dusted.
Yeah, that shit was the bad drug. I tried crack one time.
One time only?
For 3 days. That was it.
I got a
That
buddy
got it
who's
for me.
sober a long time on the West Side. He goes, I smoked crack one time for 10 years
Yeah,
straight.
yeah. I just did a weekend bid. I was good.
I did it all night, and that was it.
Yeah,
I
I
literally,
did
when I went to sleep, I woke up and I'm like, I hate
Yeah, that shit. I was like, it's gonna get bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when it first came out too. I thought it was like slick. We didn't know it was all. We didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, we thought it was cool. And I
Kind
was
of like in New Jack City when they're all partying in the club. And like, hey, want to hit this?
Yeah.
And the next
Exactly.
thing you know, they're in the Carter.
I had done freebase a couple times before that, which is the same thing basically, but it has a whole. You got to do a
Process,
lot.
ritual.
Yeah, right, exactly. Got the screens and the fuck.
And whoever's showing you how to do it is
It's
like
the worst
hip.
dude. He's the devil.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
All right, literally the devil.
My
Yeah.
experience was always like this dude that I knew that was like a big baller, like car sales, like manager dude who like, you know, he was like from the neighborhood, but he had came up and done well. But he would like we go to Huntington Beach or Newport Beach and party with him. He'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and like he's showing you the process and shit. And then as soon as he takes the first hit, he's like locked up and like, you know, you're like, oh shit.
Just even looking at your jaw like that fucking feeling.
Turn like from Jekyll to fucking Hyde like that.
Last time I did cocaine, 1987. I'm fucking glad. That shit is not good for me. That made me a fucking. I'm an asshole already. That made me extra asshole. That shit was terrible for me.
Yeah.
Like dudes, my old homeboys were like, "Yo, bro, don't do no cocaine, man. Hey, don't do that shit."
So 1987, your last
Last
time
time I did
cocaine.
cocaine, yeah.
And then drinking. Drinking.
I'm a drunk. Yeah, I'm a drunk. I'm an old school drunk. I like to drink. I like to drink and go home with the wrong chick and fucking say the wrong shit to
and
people.
barrier.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking, I don't know, man. Just the worst shit. Like always alcohol is always like in the middle of the fight or like with some chick or like just bad news. I mean, it's a lot of fun though. Like, you know, when people say like, my my worst day sober is better than my best day drunk. I'm like, you're full of shit.
Yeah, that's such a bullshit.
Such a bullshit
statement.
line to me, man. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was, I did a lot of low living in high places. That shit was a lot of fun until it wasn't. Then it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it never ends good.
Never.
No one fucking ever had like the greatest experience ever fucking being loaded. And it's like, I'm going to get sober.
Yeah.
that
They're
never
like, hey
happened.
guys, I'm back. You know, it was amazing.
It was, it was blowjobs and unicorns. Yeah. I'm fucking here though.
I had a sponsor that would say that to us. Noah, he was like New Yorker dude. Do you remember him? Bald Noah from West Hollywood. He had like
you see the Dharma Punks dude?
what's that dude's name?
There's Josh and Noah. There's two of them.
He's recovery. He's got made in New York City tattooed on the back of his neck. He's like a little scrappy dude. But he would always say, if you go out, the best thing that could happen to you is that you'll fucking end up back here in a meeting. Like, there's so many other things. Arrested, life in prison, kill a family, driving a fucking car, get your leg amputated from a car accident,
All of
get
that.
your ass fucking whooped. But, like, the best thing that could happen is you'll end up back in the room.
100%.
You know what I mean?
You know, I'm a fucking one-hit wonder, man. I ain't trying to test it. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not fucking around.
Yeah.
You know, I earned my seat. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
You know, in early sobriety, this dude told me. This dude we knew died, and he had been sober 14 years. He went home, relapsed, smoked crack in his driveway, and died. Had a heart attack.
Wow.
And I was like, "Yo, can you believe homeboy died?" And he was like, "Listen, New Jack." He's like, "Fucking, when you get in your seat, strap in, man, and put your boots on, because you're gonna walk over a lot of bodies if you hang around." And I was like, "Damn." You know, New York A is very different than LA AA. New York A is, and maybe because it's the meetings I go to here, but the meetings I went to in New York are much more straight up and down.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of bells and whistles. Dudes ain't wearing. You know, the Coachella hat isn't happening. It's just not. It's not like there's no stylist. And you know,
It's
like,
serious business.
it is. It's way more blue
is.
collar.
Yeah.
And because it's a more diverse city, it's a more diverse amount of people. And I got sober at a clubhouse that was midnight. They call
Midnight.
it Midnight
I know it,
Madness.
yeah.
That was where I got sober, and I so you know my version of sobriety.
that
is a little
Chelsea?
different. No, it's in the West Village. It's on
Okay.
Houston Street.
Right.
And it's a real thing. It's a real spot. And so you know, like I just went to this place where there was a lot
Upstairs,
of old
right?
One flight up. 100%.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's not a joke. It's a real thing.
I spoke there before.
Yeah, it's a cool place, man.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't found a clubhouse in LA that I dig. I'm wondering, where is there a good clubhouse? The one in Venice is cool.
There's one in Glendale that none of us go to.
Oh,
the-
Pathfinders?
No.
No,
There's
different
another. Fuck, what's it called?
Shakers, where Shakers
No.
is?
There's
No.
another. It's been around for a long time too. You know.
It's pretty good though. There used to be an amazing one in
you know what-
Pasadena,
you
but
know
it shut
that-
down.
No, it's not a no. It's a man.
It's named
what-
after the street.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'll come to me.
There's
Yeah.
a recovery center in Venice where, you know.
VRC. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of scrappy, but it's cool.
It's scrappy. It's like
scrappy.
homeless hangout until
It is.
7:50.
Yeah,
It's-
it's real.
yeah, for sure.
There's a cool the Hermosa Beach Alano Club.
That
is
one's
cool.
amazing.
It's
I've
dope.
never
They got a
been there.
little coffee shop in
Oh,
there and
that's
shit.
cool.
It's dope. It's
cool.
dope. You know.
You get
Yeah.
out to some of those communities. It's the same thing in Newport Beach, the Newport Beach Alano Club. You're like, damn, this is nice.
This
You know what I
fresh.
mean?
Yeah.
Midnight was not nice.
No.
I mean, you know, like when I got sober, I never spent so much time drinking bad coffee in shitty basements.
Yeah.
You know, like how many fucking church basements have I been in?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like you know, you just like
The four of us should get together and go to the Hermosa Alano Club.
should
I
do
used
it.
to go
Yeah.
all the time. It's dope.
I want to check it out.
Somebody should get together and fucking put together a company that makes good coffee and distribute it to AA.
It just wouldn't. Yeah, man, coffee is, and you know,
Have you
like
seen that meme that says, I like my women like I like my coffee, not from a 12-step meeting?
The Windsor Club.
That's it.
The Windsor Club. Yeah.
need to
That's
check
yeah.
that
Speaking as somebody who married a woman from an AA meeting.
did you do that?
Yeah. I mean, we have a beautiful life today, but it's just, you know, it's funny because for the most part.
He's next.
I
mean-
you know, hey, what did Camille tell you when you were DJing last? You know?
forget. What did
she
she
came
say?
up. She goes, "Hey, if," and this is a big, you know, she goes,
yeah,
"Or if
yeah,
and
yeah.
when I get married, you're
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
DJing
I was
our
like, I'm
wedding."
in. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in early sobriety, like I did everything wrong. Like, and then the first pretty lady who liked me, for me, I married her like a fucking idiot. She wasn't sober, but she wasn't a drunk. She just was naturally sober. She wasn't one buzz. And man, that was the worst thing I did. That was like, I did everything wrong, took someone hostage. Then we got separated, and I discovered dating apps in sobriety. I mean, and I stayed sober. Like, then I got cash for prizes. I stayed sober. Then I like fucking lost my gig. I stayed sober. My mom died. I stayed sober. Like, you know, a lot of friends of mine died. Like, all this shit happened. But like, I'm part of the like no matter what club. Like, I'm you know, I'm just. It doesn't really like. I never want to say I got it, because when you're like I got it, that means you don't got it. But I don't really have any temptation, man.
Me either.
I don't feel it. Like it doesn't.
This rain's been depressing as a motherfucker to me, but
yeah.
But I remember when I was, like going in and out of NA for a while, you know, and I wasn't doing no work. I wasn't working no steps. I wasn't doing shit, you know. I heard this guy, I stole this and I use it all the time. I was loitering with the intent to recover, you know, like, and I did a lot of that. Yeah, I did a lot of that. And I remember it was
the dudes who go to check out the chicks.
Yeah, yeah. And I would hang out, you know, and I would go where they'd have good snacks or whatever. There's some girl that I saw one time at this meeting, and I'm a wife her up, you know. She smiled at me, you know.
Good.
Yeah, and I'd never seen her again, but I kept going to that same meeting, you know, and it would be like, I remember sitting there and it's like raining, and I'm like, oh, I remember I love doing heroin in the rain, and literally just being like leaving there because I had nothing to separate me. I had no power to get into the way of me doing that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go do. I had a commitment, you know. I had a commitment at this one meeting, and I did the literature there, and I would have the literature with me, and I'd be walking home down Sunset Boulevard. And I lived at Sunset Junction, and the meeting was at Kaiser on Sunset in Vermont. And I would walk by Tiki Teas, which is a little fucking tiki bar on Sunset Boulevard. And I would walk by there, and I would see the motherfuckers with their Hawaiian shirts on, hanging outside, you know. And I didn't even own a Hawaiian shirt. And I would like end up there with the literature and the fucking little goofy drink in my hand, you know, like time and like wondering how, like, you know, I didn't do the work. I didn't have any power to separate me from that, you know, and being like, maybe like I'm constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. Yeah, I was constitutionally incapable of being honest that I was not doing anything, you know. I was just hanging out, and like hanging out is gonna get you fucking, you know.
I think it's easier when you're older. You know, when you're in your 40s, because like you've done it all. Like you're like, it's not gonna get no better. You know how it's gonna end up. So you're like, man, let me just fucking fix it if I can. You know, for me it was like, it was apparent. It was a choice I had to make. Like my life. I still had my life. I'd lost a really big shiny life, but I still had a life. But I was like, I was morally like empty. I had a huge God-sized hole. I was morally bankrupt, and I was miserable. You know, I was like, it never ends pretty, but I was like drunk watching reruns of like the Knick game after being in a bar at like 4 a.m. and like fucking in my boxers yelling at the Knick game, punching holes in the wall, you know, and wondering why.
And it's a fucking replay.
Yeah, it's a replay. It's a replay. I already know they lost, and I'm wondering why no one wants to hang out with me. Like, dude, I'm a liability. I'm gonna go out and say the wrong thing to the wrong person, do the wrong thing. I'm an asshole. You don't want to. I'm going to tell you all about yourself. Never look in the mirror. And I was incapable of having just one. And I realized when I really wrapped my head around that, I've been like that my whole life. I always drank to get drunk. I never had one drink. Like I never had. I'm gonna have my glass of wine at dinner. Like people did that were fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you, fucking crazy? You didn't finish your drink. What are you, a bozo? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I never was that dude.
Me either.
I never had one of anything. Like,
I would way rather have a fucking Dr. Pepper back in the day than a beer, like taste wise.
Yeah. Beer tastes gross to me when I first had it.
You drink it to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Period,
I spit after every drink, but I drank the quart, you know, 12 years old. And then by the time I'm 15, 16, I love beer and alcohol. You know, I love beer too. I was a beer guy.
Me too.
Yeah, I love beer.
You fuck with King Cobra?
I mean, that was early on. I graduated. By the end, it was Stella.
All that charcoal filter shit tastes nasty.
I was an old English guy.
Yeah, I was
old
too.
Gold.
I didn't. I still don't think it tasted good, and I drank a lot of it. Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah,
fucking nasty.
I love the High Life. You know, I love
Miller High Life.
Miller High Life.
My mom drank the Miller High Life.
Yeah, low. Yeah. A high life for a low life, you know. That's what. Yeah, and I loved it.
Do you remember those Mickey's Hornets? Those like
the Mickey's Big Mouth.
No, well, yeah, but then the
big one. I remember.
They came out with like a 22-ounce beer called the Mickey's Hornet,
Deuce.
And you could get them for like 99 cents at one point. So you just buy like a case of 24 of them for like if you just came up, you know what I mean?
The Deuce was
$24.
Yeah, that's it.
Did they have Ballantine Ale in California?
No,
Ballantine
Ale. We called the Irish Old English because it was green and it has like a beer stein on it, and the caps are a puzzle underneath. They're I forget what
Oh,
you
like
call it.
Lucky Lager. We had
Lucky
that,
Lager,
yeah.
yeah.
They have the
Lucky
little
Lager had, like,
puzzle on the
puns
bottom.
and
Yeah,
shit.
Lucky Lager had that. I wonder if it's the same thing, just marketed for the West
Maybe.
Coast. Was it
And
little
that
brown bottles?
It was a green bottle.
You were telling
okay.
me. You told me about it. Yeah.
We drank those things. That was our thing. We graduated to Ballantine Ale. We thought we were classy. It's not classy.
Lucky was like a rockabilly kind of, like a dirty kind of, you know.
It didn't have any fuck. It felt like you drink Lucky Lager and it was like, it's like it wasn't carbonated.
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, I hear you.
It like tastes like flat beer.
Yeah, sometimes you pop the
gross.
tops off them and it wouldn't even.
Yeah.
It was just like,
It's gross. That's horrible. I mean, I'll tell you what the worst beer ever was is I can still taste the taste. The worst taste ever is like a warm Budweiser. It's like the worst taste in the entire planet.
I don't know how that shit was the best selling beer in the U.S., right? Bud and Bud Light until Modelo, right?
Modelo's the biggest top selling beer in California.
Modelo
Oh,
tastes
just
good.
California?
Yeah.
Budweiser's horrible.
Budweiser's a motherfucker, man.
Fucking and take like
But-
83 of them to get me drunk.
But it's
Believe it or
it's
not-
that redneck shit. You know,
Believe it
it's
or
like that.
not,
You know.
Corona's sales really got hammered because of coronavirus. I'm not kidding you.
Of course.
That's wild.
I mean, people are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
like
If
you
it
know.
was the Modelo virus, it would have been all bad too for
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
We'd be having a different.
Same owners.
Yeah.
I mean, Corona is just Mexican Budweiser, right?
Yeah.
It's the same shit. It don't taste no better.
It's all that, like, growing up, like, kind of in SoCal, close to the border. It's like
Yeah.
all the romance of, like, going to TJ, going to Ensenada and getting a place by the beach and drinking, like, endless
Yeah.
Coronas, you know.
I got a good TJ story.
Oh, let's hear
Oh.
it. Yeah.
I go to TJ. It's like ASR, and we're like,
Oh, yeah,
me
I
and a
remember
bunch
that.
of dudes, and I'm not gonna throw them under the bus, but our one boy's there. Oh, we go in, and like, I'm like, someone like one of the Crooks guys hits me to this. He's like, you can sneak weed into Tijuana, just don't bring it back. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get stoned in Tijuana. So I bring a bag of weed with me to Tijuana. We're there for like a couple of days, and I fucking we burned one. You know, we go to the house of ill repute.
Yeah.
One of our boys is like, he must have fell in love or something. And we left that fucker. We were like, I'm out. So I was like, I know I'm going to be back though. So I take my bag and I hide it behind like a tree. Like I hide it there and we go back 2 days later. And it's still there. Oh shit. And I find my fucking little bag of weed and we smoke.
No way.
100%.
Fuck.
And then you went back to Adelita's.
That shit was bad news. I was like, man, chick's got a cesarean scar. Fuck it, I'm here. Like, it was fucking wild, man.
Yeah, I used to, when I lived in Newport, people would talk shit about that spot or whatever, and then you go down there and, like, everybody from fucking Newport's there.
Yeah, the people talking shit are there.
Yeah,
Huh.
totally. You're like, what the fuck? It's crazy.
Yeah, ASR at San Diego is always some shit.
It was fun.
Super fun.
It was a good time. Yeah,
I saw some
for
good
sure.
things there. I saw Aaron Murray punch a jock in the face for no reason in the elevator. Dude just looked at him. He's like, hey, bro. And Aaron just like hits him. And I was like, fuck, Dogtown's cool. Fucking guys are fresh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just a bunch of other stupid shit with Harold Hunter and all this fucking crazy shit there. Yeah, ASR was, I met a girl I dated for a couple of years at ASR. She was from New York, and I was like, I'm either going to strike out right now or it's going to work out. And it worked out. Yeah. Yeah. Trade shows. Vegas.
Yeah.
Bad. All bad.
It's all bad. Yeah.
All bad.
Oh yeah. I've been there. I've been
end
there.
up in
Strung
some
out to
crazy
yeah.
situations.
Oh yeah. Magic. I've been I dated a model that was there, and it's just fucking me going out there and be like, oh, it'll be great. We'll have a nice weekend together, and like taking the going out there. We get in a huge fight. She's like, get the fuck. I'm taking the mega bus back. You know, the worst.
Dude, I went out there. I went out with this crazy ass girl. She was way too young for me. Super hot. And I went out there and we were like on again, off again. And we didn't go out together. She's like, I'm going to Magic. And I was like, what the fuck are you going to Magic for? And we know what you're going for. So, man, and we end up like, we're hanging out. And I don't know, I picked up her phone and she was like talking to some dude I knew. So, and we would always like have all these fights. We were both terrible to each other. And I opened the door and I threw her phone down the hallway. So she ran down to get her phone and I jetted. And so I left.
She didn't have the key to the room.
No, she wasn't saying she had her own room. And I was like, I'm out. And I jetted. She was out there modeling. I was like, I'm out. And I met some other chick and I didn't come back. I just didn't come back. And I was like, it was just so crazy. And she like hooked up with some dude I knew, and it was like, and then we came back to New York like it never happened.
Yeah, right. All kind of drama out there.
Outside the area code don't count.
Yeah, even though we both know we're terrible. Yeah, that one didn't work out. That was one of those ones Stevie Wonder could see that shit wouldn't work out.
Well, thank you so much, Dante.
Yeah. You got any other stories for us? You got anything else in there? You got any you want to drop?
I got a good one, an LA one when I was drunk.
Let's hear it.
One of the
Let's
first
hear
times I
one.
ever came
All
to LA. So I knew all the guys from Venice, and I went out to Funky Reggae.
Yeah.
Remember Funky Reggae?
Yeah.
Matt Robinson had been my roommate in New York, and this guy, you probably know him, Papa Rex,
It sounds familiar.
Dred Flintstone.
Matt's Holly's brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like a recording artist. He signed to my friend's label, and I don't know what I did. I definitely did something stupid, and he snuffed me, but he kind of missed. It wasn't like I didn't really get hurt, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool, it's all good, man. Like, don't worry about it." And like dudes kind of eased up, and I cracked him upside the head with a bottle. I fucking cut him up, and fucking huge bouncers throwing me out of my neck. All this shit, all this shit happens, and then I get the call from Block. He's like, "Dudes in Venice are gonna fuck you up." And I'm like, "What?" "Yo, you hit homeboy with the fucking bottle." And I was like, "He deserved it." And he was like, "Come to Venice if you're not scared." And I was like, "Okay." And I went down there. I was like, "Where's dude at? Let's just fucking get it on."
Yeah.
And dude didn't want to fight.
Really?
That was the end of it. That was the end of it.
Fuck.
And Jesse Martinez was like, "I like you, dude." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah. But those guys were all like, I was like, Venice is after me. The whole city.
All of Venice.
You know, back then you were scared of those. Dudes were kind of scary,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
Yeah, but I got to know them all. They were all fucking mad cool. But Block was the instigator.
Oh, of course.
Like,
Yeah.
Venice is after you, D. That's my California story.
That's so great.
Thanks. Can you tell us the name of your book one more time,
The
Dante?
book is called Son of the City. Comes out May 23rd. Rare Bird Lit.
Amazon.
Amazon,
Barnes and Noble.
Nobles, fucking Pals. It's everywhere online. Pre-order it. It's off to a sterling start. I go on a book tour. I'm going to read at Barnes and Nobles June 6th at the Grove.
Oh, cool.
We'll be there.
And I'll be May. We're not going to let you in. Metal detector.
Yeah, make sure he doesn't have a marker on it.
No marker.
I just want an autograph. Get the fuck out of here.
It's going to be me and B Real doing a little Q&A thing, and I'm going to do New York. I go May 23rd. I'm reading here, there, and everywhere, including Barnes and Noble's Union Square with Just Blaze. I'm doing this thing at SOBs, a whole bunch of shit, and then I'm going to go up the coast, and I'll be on tour for about 6 weeks.
Fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's bugged out for once. It's fucking weird, bro. It's just weird. Yeah, it's cool. So
I think it's a long time coming.
yeah, I tell a lot of stories. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
that's what I mean.
You know,
Yeah.
where's your book? Yeah.
Fuck.
You got a lot of good stories, bro. You always got a good story, man. You know, when you guys got sober, like, I don't know if you were like this, but me, I wanted to hear a great drunk-a-log.
Yeah.
That's what kept me coming back.
Yeah.
I was like, man, these guys were like, this guy was telling the stories. Like, I was in a bush and my girl left with this dude I knew, and I ran out and I like went to hit him and he kicked my fucking ass, and my girl was like, "Good for you, you dick." And like I kept going back and getting arrested.
Dude,
and then
That's why we started this. That's why we started doing this. Yeah.
You're like us. You like that's all we live for that shit. But dude, my buddy just told Dante I love this one. So I run into my buddy a couple weeks ago at this meeting. I'm like, "Oh, you back to work?" Because he got hip replacement, right? He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I got Steve working for me, this old tweaker who was a framer for a friend of ours." And dude, like 15 years ago, my friend Kenny, I was like, dude, because he's bringing this dude to meetings, but dude was on one, like fucked up on speed, right? And I was like, Kenny, you're going to have to fire him. And Kenny goes like this. He goes, "Dude, I can't fire him." He goes, "The fucking dude shows up early and does a great job on meth, right?" Steve gets busted. He's at the county jail, and they can't find his clothes. I told you this, right?
No.
They can't find his clothes, so they give him a pair of orange, LA County jail pants, and they give him a pair of like shoes that are too big, but they have like Heelys. They have wheels in them.
No way.
Like
He's in
leftover
county
shit.
and Heelys.
Yeah, they give him those. He goes directly to work, and they're in like San Marino in like a 2-story building. And Mitch, a bunch of our friends, they're on the roof framing. and they hear, oh, and they look, and the wheels kicked up, and dude's flying down the fucking thing. Hey, dude's wearing the orange pants. He's flying down the roof, and Mitch swears this motherfucker reached down, grabbed his fucking hammer like a methamphetamine Thor, and just boom, and caught the roof right before he fell off.
No shit.
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, boom, caught it. With
That
the
is
claw.
incredible.
Wow.
That is.
Thanks so much, Dante.
Thank you guys, man.
Yeah,
This is
thank
fun.
you, Dante. Yeah,
Thank you, Dante.